Hello, good people of the world. I promised after the Climb Malawi event that I would try my best to record and release the All Black Pacific Northwest panel that was going to be happening that night. And guess what? I have it here for you today. The event went very, very well. It was in March of 2025. The event itself was really wonderful, and the vision that I had for it went without a hitch. Just basically a table fair with some key community partners, which happened. We had about 18 tablers come through, so thank you all for coming to table and talk to the community, get the word out about that good work that you're doing as well. We really appreciate seeing you. And for me, it felt like a big party, a big reunion. Yes, I was running around doing everything on the organizing aspect with some of the Global Climbing Initiative people. But I did have time to say hello to a lot of people that I know and adore in the community, in the Seattle area, in the climbing realm. And thank you all for coming and making this really, really great. We did end up raising a couple $1,000s for the Global Climbing Initiative, and that will go to Climb Malawi to help with infrastructure for climbing and gear and all that good stuff. The Global Climbing Initiative has been doing some wonderful work, so definitely check them out. And thank you so much for honoring me with guiding the vision and guiding the experience that everyone was going to have. And one of the biggest events that I personally have actually put together. I was the forerunner, the main person on this project, but a big shout out to Danny as well of the Global Climbing Initiative and Veronica, who were also very, very much a part of all the organizing aspects. I was basically a contractor on this. I was helping out off the Washington Climbers Coalition side, but more importantly, I also was doing it on the side as my Rock Rose Blog LLC company as well. And what better platform than this one to go ahead and release the All Black Pacific Northwest panel so that y'all don't miss out on any of that discussion, because I thought it was massively interesting. The audience was very, very engaged. So there's clapping in between every single question that is answered, because everyone there had such reverence for the speakers, myself included. And that all-star lineup with those organizers, I was starstruck personally. And I know these organizers in my own life, but the work that they do is so important. So in the description, there will be a link to each person's name and organization so that you can do more research on seeing what they have going on, because they're doing some exciting things. Sign up for them, donate to them, support them in general, because they deserve our recognition, respect, and our money. Massive apologies for the lighting, and that is on me. I was excited. I was running the panel, I had things to do. And by the time I got up there and got down, I realized that I had not turned the lights on. It was set for the movie to go. So it's a little bit unclear as to who you can see on stage. So I did make it so that there are little labels below each person so you can get familiar with them, because we want you to know these people. We want you to be involved with them, and we want you to recognize them in the community and give them their dues. And a special thanks to Phil Henderson, who I cold called, and he said, I just want to be involved. And it went from there, from him being on the panel to hosting the actual talk with Genevieve and Mario, which was really wonderful as well, and happened after this panel, which unfortunately I did not record. And then also thank you to Genevieve and Mario for coming all the way to Seattle to talk to our community, to show your wonderful film of Climb Malawi documentary. And a special shout out to Mario for recording this panel as well. I was planning on recording it myself, but I am really not set up like that, y'all. And he had the setup. So with that, enjoy the panel. You can find this on Spotify as an episode, or you can go to Substack as well. I am also on WordPress. You can find me at www.rockrose.blog and also see the written article form of this as well, or on Substack. Enjoy. Rock Rose blog, climbing by POC and policy.
Genevieve and Mario to locations. We also encourage them to go to trainings. We provide grants for projects that are social, environmental, and economic and creative. And then we also do gear distribution. So look us up. You can kind of go to our website. We've also partnered with the Washington Climbers Coalition and the Bouldering Project for this event, as well as all these fantastic tables. So thank you all for coming. So with that, I'm going to have Crystal come and introduce herself and all of these panelists. So Crystal works for the Washington Climbers Coalition, and Crystal is really the person behind this entire event tonight. So I'm here.
Thank you, Danny. And Danny has also put a lot of good work into this organization too, so thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone for coming, and of course we're here to see these wonderful people and all of their wonderful work that they have been doing here in the Pacific Northwest. So welcome to our Community Connection panel for the evening. One more note, we still have raffle tickets for sale as well. You'll have a little bit of a chance after this panel to purchase more. And of course, that goes to the Global Climbing Initiative for continued track development, outdoor climbing opportunities, and upgrades to the climbing center in Malawi as well. So with that, we're gonna get started. Are you all ready? So my name is Crystal. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and today I am representing Rock Rose Blog. It's a consulting company for DEI locally here in Washington. And we'll just have y'all go right down the line and introduce yourself, your name, maybe your organization, and anything else you'd like to share.
Okay. It's on. Maybe. Hi everyone, my name's Soph. I use she, them pronouns, and I'm representing two organizations today. One, Out in the Wild, which is a queer-owned and queer affinity guide service that focuses on technical climbing, education, instruction, and guide development. And then also Edge Outdoors, which is a Black women-owned and led nonprofit that works to increase the leadership and representation of women and gender people in snow sports with an emphasis on Black women.
You're gonna block them. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of amazing stuff. That's a lot of sure. My name is Eric Ballentine. I go by the them pronouns. I am here on behalf of Minority Veterans of America. We are an organization that serves veterans, but we serve veterans predominantly from marginalized communities, focusing on Black and Brown communities, queer communities, and women veterans, specifically because the identities that we hold uniquely shape what our experiences are like in the military. And so we often tend to disassociate from that. So it's really about bringing veterans back to have a community that they can call their own within the veteran community.
My name is Kasim Carter, he, him pronouns. I represent Outdoor Afro. We are a national nonprofit organization. Basically inspire leadership in the outdoor community and do a lot of things as far as doing events. Around the country, we have right now, over 100 leaders around the country. We're in about 33, 34 states right now. Constantly growing, continually to grow. And we just lead folks out in different sorts of adventures in the outdoors, encourage Black people to get into the outdoors and get out there and do things.
Good evening. My name is Phillip Henderson.
All right,
I'm representing Full Circle Expeditions. I was a leader of the first all-black team to summit Mount Everest a couple of years ago. Originally from San Diego, California, but I now reside in Southwest Colorado. My organization, Full Circle Expedition, really just focuses on everybody. We focus on everybody, but we prioritize people of color, especially kids, because we just want to expose them to everything that we all do and that we know that we can be doing outside. You'll hear a little bit about my mobilization of the outdoor community in a little bit, so that's pretty much what we do.
Howdy y'all. Howdy y'all. Chevon Powell, she, her pronouns, founder of Goldberg's Events and the Refuge Outdoor Festival. We are an organization producing events geared toward BIPOC communities in the outdoors, creating safety, physical and emotional safety, belonging, and joy. Yes. And I'm from Texas.
Thank you so much for sharing, and I am very excited to hear more from these panelists. I cannot overstate the work that these wonderful people do in our community for our community, so thank you so much. So the question is, how does your organization foster and grow community connection, and what does community connection mean to you? And we're going to start with Phil, because I know this was advertised as an all-Black Pacific Northwest community organizing space. But Phil, you have a lot of connections here, so we're going to have you go first.
Yeah. I'm like fostering grow community connection. And I just mentioned a minute ago about globalizing. And to me, when I think of community, I don't just think of us, Black people. I don't just think of San Diego, California. I don't just think of the United States. I literally think globally, because I've been able to travel through the outdoors in my experience. I've actually never been a tourist, to be honest about it. I've been in 3 different countries. I've lived in Kenya for 2 years. I've lived in Chile for 3 years, and I've been in Nepal 13 or 14 times. So to me, that's my community. These people that I spend time in the mountains with, that I've helped train and do all those kind of things. So everybody, if you speak a different language, you come from a different place, it doesn't matter to me, because we're all connected to the outdoors. And so that's really what I want to focus on. Because the environment itself, we all belong to it, we come from it, and we need to protect it, but we don't do that if we don't educate everybody, we don't connect everybody. And we've all been so disconnected from the environment and the outdoors, we don't even know what outdoors means anymore. It's not just recreation. And so I really try to just get everybody into get in where you fit in, right? Meet people where they are, and some folks heard me say this last night, I don't care if it's sitting on a park bench birding, or if it's climbing Mount Everest, anything in between that, get out and do it. And that's what we're gonna help people do, just connect here.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to chime in as well?
Can you guys hear me okay? With Outdoor Afro, similar to what Phil was talking about, outdoors can mean pretty much anything to anybody. We're just encouraging, we recognize that there is a certain healing element to being into the outdoors, to go out there and doing things. So like I mentioned earlier, we have over 32 networks around the country, and the way we reach out is when we bring on new volunteer leaders like myself, we kind of tap into the communities that we live in. So I just relocated out here from the East Coast, so I'm out in Washington now. So I've been tapping into the community out here, encouraging them to do. One of the first things I ask when I have my first event is, what do you guys like to do? Because I enjoy hiking, backpacking, kayaking, camping, just about anything outdoors, I'm gonna at least try it. But sometimes it's bird watching, sometimes it's, we have a leader in Chicago, I don't think they've ever done anything other than cycling events. I have a leader in Boston, she does ice climbing events. People in Florida, we don't hike. It's too hot and too humid. They do swimming events and kayaking events and things like that. So I think the whole idea is just to reach out and find people, let them know, just to come outside, to encourage the kids and everybody to come out and enjoy nature in whichever way they feel is appropriate to them. And let them know that it's okay and it's safe to do so. Because a lot of times, especially in our community, in our past, it's kind of been taboo to kind of go into the outdoors, go hiking in the woods. I get it all the time. People, you go out there hiking by yourself? Like, oh yeah, you can do that now. It's free. But a lot of people, there's a certain like fear and taboo about going out to some of these places. So part of the idea of this organization is to encourage people to get out there and make it safe for them and realize that it's safe and to spread it throughout their community. And I always tell them, you guys can come out and do this hike with me or camping with me, but then I want you to go back and bring your family, take your kids out, go out hiking, bring your grandma, and do something out inside of your community as well. So that's how we get it out there.
Yes, absolutely. How does your organization foster and grow community connection, and or what does community connection mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm 43, so like I grew up in like the 80s and 90s, right? So being a latchkey kid, like that was just the norm, right? And that comes from a place of you're going home by yourself, but at the same time, Miss Hattie down the street, she might not talk to your mom that often, but she knows when you're acting a fool, right? But also at the same time, if you're locked out of your house, you had an unsafe situation, you could go to this person, right? And so for us as an organization, a lot of our community is revolved around safety, right? We serve Black and brown communities, we serve queer folks, we serve women, particularly from the veteran community, and that's significantly important because, let's just call it really quick, the military has a problem with sexual violence, especially against women. We have issues with, you turn on the news, you know what's going on with the military and queer folks right now. And then with all of that, right, there's always racism and like erasure that's happened long before Trump came into play, right? And so for us as a community, it's really about pulling people in. And we have like very strict standards in terms of what it means to be a member of our organization. It's not about you just respecting Black and brown folks. It's not just about you respecting women. It's not just about you respecting all the people that we serve. You have to respect each and every one of those groups individually and as a collective. Because when you come into my community, I can't guarantee things because people always act a fool. But at the same time, like you should have a sense of confidence when you come into our community to say, hey, I feel safe here, I feel heard, I feel seen. And so that's the focal point of all the things that we do. Most people that come to us, they're coming to us because they have had a negative experience at another organization. And so we really revolve that around safety, belonging, and then always talking to that community that you're also a part of, right? Like, I'm not just serving these folks, I'm a part of the community. Everybody that works at our org, volunteers with our org, is a part of one or more of those communities, right? Intersectionality is a real thing that's really important. So ensuring like, hey, I'm not going to say I understand because everybody has their own each individual circumstance, but you have a place to where you can safely share your story if you feel comfortable to, and just be there and be present and enjoy the things that we do. And the things that we do are based on what the community is telling us.
We're going down the line. I can share. I think it's for somebody much taller than me. Yeah, I think that's something that I really appreciate about the model. A couple of programs that I work with, and notably EDGE, is just a recognition that a lot of these experiences are valuable, but they're not valuable in isolation, right? So like learning to ski or to ride as an adult. So a lot of our programs are focused on women and queer folk who are like never learning as adults, have never had the opportunity to slide on snow and experience how silly and fun and wonderful that is, or like very early and have had a lot of negative experiences outside. And it's not just about like, oh, here's a pass to the mountain, have fun, your way is paved, but thinking about the actual value of doing that over multiple days, multiple weeks in a community that looks like you, can support you, and that way that connection is fostered in those moments and in those like multiple days and weeks and in the time to come. Those are experiences that allow us to actually like tap more fully into presence and not just get an experience, but also think about what are the things that allow us to maximize our potential in terms of full participation, feeling psychologically safe, emotionally safe, understood by the people that you're with, especially as we're taking on objective risk or just learning new things about our bodies or ourselves, or just environmental hazard, being like cold, hungry, angry, lonely, frustrated as you're figuring something out, and the value of doing that alongside people who look like you, can support you, as that continues forward, rather than just getting the opportunity to do it in and of itself. I think that also from just more holistically and thinking about, for me, a lot of being in community is about opting into that. And so rather than having a group of people who just nominally share something in common, we like to climb or we like to ski, we have a certain demographic background, a shared racial or ethnic identity, that there's more that we have in common, that we're actually choosing to come together and kind of stand alongside each other, being that often around shared values and wanting to maximize the full participation of other people in those spaces. And so I think a common question just we'll ask is like, Max and Min, like what's gonna help you be your fullest self here? Like what's gonna maximize your participation? What's gonna keep you from being your fullest self in a space? And I think that's a big part of not just getting people together because they seem like they should be aligned based on identity, experience, or we enjoy the same activity, but we're doing those things and changing behaviors to really bring folks in.
I'll just say I co-sign on everything that has been said. And for us specifically with Goldenberg's, it's this community is essential in what we do because we're building a more inclusive community. And so, we develop a robust partner network because we can't do this in a silo, I think someone said. So to create belonging, we have to know that safety is the important piece of belonging. Being celebrated is part of belonging and a part of community. And so that's like our main pillar is to address that community. We have to do this together because we won't be in a better place unless we're in it together.
Oh, thank you. I've enjoyed every minute of this. And I do have another question, follow up with that as well. A lot of times we do find ourselves in shared spaces, right? Sometimes specifically POC or person of color spaces. And so do you have any advice for organizations on how to include specifically the B in BIPOC, aka Black folks?
I'll go first.
It's intentionality. Like you have to call out anti-Blackness immediately. And if you're not doing that, then we're not feeling safe. And I say, if there's no B and I, don't say BIPOC. Period. That's it.
Anyone else?
With Outdoor Afro, our focus is specifically Black. It's not BIPOC or anything else, and that's one of the ways that we maintain that focus. It's just that's what we're trying to do is to get more Black people. I was very focused on that. However, one of the things that I've done and a lot of other leaders have done is join in with other organizations. Every year I do 2 events with Latino Outdoors. I have Outdoor Asian. We do it this year. We'll be doing an event. We did it last year with Outdoor Asian, Latino Outdoors, at Outdoor Afro, going to, within the Nature Conservancy, going to the San Juan Islands and going to one of the islands that they own, the Yellow Island, I believe it's called Yellow Island. So doing joint events with organizations that are very specific as far as their focus, so Latino Outdoors, Asian Outdoors, or what have you. So I think, but also having that focus on specifically on Black people, because sometimes, especially within our community, there can be some distrust. There can be people who are uncomfortable if they go to an event and it's just, and I'm the only Black person there, and everybody else is something else. So when you have all of us, I mean, I can't tell you how many times some people are really comfortable just knowing that. I mean, I've had people that were nervous to bring maybe their spouse or their partner is not willing. I said, no, you can bring them along, absolutely. And as long as the understanding is that this event is focused specifically on Black people, trying to get Black people into the outdoors, enjoying the outdoors, and spending time outside.
I'll also say, unless you're gonna cut me a check, don't put me at the forefront of trying to recruit Black folks, like, for your organization. And I see it happen time and time again, or like tokenizing Black folks. Like, there is a threshold of guidance or things that I need you to know before we start having a conversation about how to include Black people into your organization. That comes a lot, unfortunately, that comes a lot from POC organizations, and this is why we use the word intentionally when we talk about BIPOC, because the reality is that it's not the same. And that's okay. You can understand that and live with that. Like, I'm not saying like things are a hierarchy, but the reality of like, the reason we use Black, Indigenous, and people of color is because Black people and Indigenous folks have a unique experience in relationship to America than a lot of other POC folks, right? And so it's really important that we not just put the labor, the emotional and physical and mental labor on Black folks and Indigenous folks.
Yeah, I think I'll offer two things. One, I think in spaces that I've been in that are across the board, so say, for example, and I did want to give a real shout. I think Mary's in the room because Alpine Events helped us out with this, but Ed just, nominally for folks across racial and ethnic backgrounds, but actually just kind of put the B in like BIPOC in terms of like thinking about women specifically for this Area 1 Infinity kind of like avalanche education course. And so I'll shout out Mary and Alpine Ascends for the support with Edge, as well as Brooklyn Bell and Emily Zenobia for helping us put that on a couple weeks ago at Mount Baker, is thinking what are the ways that in an organization that is for folks across the board, we can think about elevating and creating spaces for Black women and Black queer folk to get the certifications and leadership experience and expand their leadership opportunities, so that we're thinking about who are the people that are going to teach, who are going to lead, and bring other folks up into this organization, that we're investing specifically in this pool of folks, not at the expense of others, but really making sure that we maintain that leadership, understanding that it's often Black women that are experiencing attrition in these spaces. They come in and don't necessarily get to continue to rise. So how do we invest in their leadership? And then I think for advice to organizations, that's the second part of the question.
We're gonna go into that, but
Okay.
maybe
I'll hold your tongue.
give Phyllis a
Yeah,
chance if
absolutely.
you'd like to say anything.
Look, I'm gonna keep it real for you. I don't really even use the acronym BIPOC. I'm not an acronym, just like I say that I'm not a theory. I'm a person with experience, and I want to tell my story. For me, I'll just say Black people, Indigenous people, Latino people, Native people. I don't want to cut us short. So let's use what we are. Just use the word instead of an acronym. Make people say it, right? The way that I show up and I try and listen to ice climbing festivals. People were saying, hey, I want to learn ice climb, but I want to learn from people who look like me. How many people out there can teach ice climbing? So that's why I show up. Because I don't want people to show up and be like, oh, well, there's nobody that looks like me, and then you have to go through these things that we're talking about, right? Skiing, backcountry skiing. If someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to do this or I want to learn this, wow, I'm there. We need more of this. That's why I'm here, because people need to know that it's possible and that it's needed as well. go back to Black people and putting that to the forefront. Again, I don't put it to the forefront, but if someone calls me and say, hey, can you come visit a school in Louisville, Kentucky? I'm gonna be there because those kids don't see people like me. So if you expose them to that, it's planting a seed to them. They're like, oh, okay, people like me do this. And if I say BIPOC to that second grader, they don't know what that is. So it's about showing up. It's about saying what you are, because we can't change that, right? Like that's why I said I'm not BIPOC. I'm a Black person.
Thank you all, right? And don't be afraid to say Black people. We're Black and we're proud. Also, a shout out to Mary Brown that Soph was talking about. Where is Mary? Thank you for also working as well. Stop by the Alpine Ascents table to go talk to Mary Brown about the BIPOC cohort. So with that, I guess we're going to circle back to Soph to ask one last question, and then we'll have a little bit of time for audience questions if anyone would like to have any burning questions answered. So Soph, how can the outdoor community support you and or your work? It's your time to shine.
Oh, wow, no pressure. I think a big thing is just the question that I think is largely rhetorical, but asking from organizations and other groups to get very serious about whether the inclusion of Black folks in programs or in leadership is coming from a fear, like a place of fear that we're going to be criticized or canceled or critiqued for not including the leadership and perspectives of Black folks, or is it because you're genuinely excited about what that will bring to the table and how that would change your organizing and your organization? I think there's a lot of groups that just bring folks in largely to tokenize them out of nervousness that they will not seem like diverse or cool enough. And so just kind of bring folks in as a face rather than thinking, wow, this space is lacking the leadership of Black people, and it would be really cool if they were here because they would make that space richer and more exciting and creative and would bring a perspective we don't currently have rather than operating out of fear. And I think that's just a question that I have asked other people to sit with, and I'll just leave it at that.
One thing I'll say really quickly, because it doesn't answer a question directly, but it's super important. I heard a quote today. I just want to read it to you. It said, all men benefit from the actions of violent men. It keeps women in check. It allows men to perform the barest minimum and still feel good about themselves. The existence of violent men grants good men awards for basic decency. I think it's really important to talk about, especially when it comes to Black women, right? We know that like Black folks in America like have a really we have a fucking really difficult time, like, right? And so when I think about that conversation is most often, it's centered around men, right? The reality of the situation is that Black women have a really fucking hard time. So I'm just gonna be real quick and I'm just gonna say it, right? Protect Black women, right? If you see someone putting a little bit too much bass in their voice at the store, on the trail, at the crag, stop for a minute. Analyze the situation and say, is this problematic, right? Is this person coming at them because they're a Black woman, or would they also talk to me that way, right? It's really important because when you break all of these things down, right, how systemic oppression truly works, right, is that we target all these different groups, right, and it gets to a point to where we're stuck in our own box that we're not seeing other people's existence. And the people that feel that the most are Black women and Black trans women. Trans women are women, just to keep that in mind, but I also want to highlight my queer folks, especially when it comes to them being AFAB. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it with that. That's what my organization does, and we do that for all communities. But I also want to give a shout out to these Black women on stage for still willing to be up here and do these great things, even though America kind of has a tendency to say fuck you. And I'm just saying, I'll protect you. I'll love you. That's it.
And can I jump in for just a second? AFAB, for those of you that may be curious, is assigned female at birth, correct?
Correct.
Thank
You killing it, girl!
Sorry, Kasim, go ahead.
I think with Outdoor Afro, with any organization, I think just encouraging people to go out there and try something new. So look at some of our organizations, support our organizations. All of us have budgets. We all have financial goals and needs and things of that nature. And as we know, with the current administration coming in, a lot of those things are being cut. Just like Phil said, he doesn't like BIPOC as a term. I don't like DEI as a term. Tell me exactly what about diversity you don't like. What is it about inclusion you don't like? Make them say those letters. Make them read them out exactly, because they're just throwing it all in. Oh, it's DEI, or it's woke, or it's this. We need to support ourselves. We need to, with Outdoor Afro, most of our events, I'd say 99% of our events are going to be free. We don't charge people to come out on our hikes, our camping trips, or anything like that. That's all paid for. So that takes money. So supporting our organization, all of these organizations is very important. With Outdoor Afro, you can go to outdoorafro.org and donate. You can encourage your businesses that you work with, encourage other organizations. If you have an organization that does climbing or what have you, if you want to bring more Black people into climbing, maybe go out and find a Black organization and offer some sort of a discount to their classes or something like that. Regardless of what your business can offer, we've had lots of sponsors. We've had the Mountaineers, we've had REI, we have a lot of people that sponsor, but a lot of those things are going to be cut by a lot of companies and definitely by the government. So getting out here and actually financially supporting these organizations and sending some money their way and let them know that they are important and what they're doing is worthwhile.
So since we're on the financial tip, we could all use some money. But it's about supporting people, right? It's about supporting all people who want to be leaders that look like us. And believe me, I know this because I've been doing it for a while. I've been looking for people like this for quite a while, and they didn't exist. But I always knew that they existed. They just needed them in, right? Sometimes when you were talking about Black men, Black women, but in this industry, I think that sometimes they're still scared of Black men with experience. It's like, oh, what is that, right? How can I relate to that person? Is that person taking my job? All these different things. Now, believe me, I came into the industry when it was deemed. It was diversity. And even then, when I came into it, I don't think I ever used the word before. So I was brought into that. It wasn't what I came into the industry for, but it's there. But when people ask you for, what you were talking about, pulling people in, there's something I tell people is, you can utilize me, but don't use me. There's a difference there. That's the difference, is when you feel like you're being used, just being pulled in just because. But am I being pulled in the right way? Because I do have the experience. People know that. But why do you want me sitting here? Because if you just want me to sit there and not talk and not show the experience that I have, then that's something different. That's me being used. But if you want to utilize me, then I can build a community of people with your support. And that's all I've ever really wanted to do, was just have the support to do the work that I've always wanted to do, that I see that is needed. And now people are seeing that it's needed. So that's why I say, yeah, support what we do. Outdoor Afro, when Outdoor Afro was just coming up, I ran a trip for their leaders to Kilimanjaro back in 2018, because I know that we need leaders that are experienced. I know that if I don't go into schools right now, that 10 years from now, we're going to be sitting here talking about the same thing. Because people are coming in going, I want people who look like me to teach me, but we don't have them. So it's that important for us to support each other, regardless of where you're coming from, what you look like, all of those things. But I also know that as Black people, as Black children, Black and brown people, we're probably the least connected to the outdoors for various reasons. That's a whole other story. I worked for Knowles for a long time. I've worked in the outdoors. So people can't say that I'm not willing to work with anybody or that I can't work with anybody. But when I choose to work with my community, that's a problem. No, it's not a problem, it's a need. And so that's where I put the work into that. Yeah.
I'll just say for our work, we do a lot with organizations and partners, and I always start with checking their why. We're not a box. We want you to invest in us, and that goes beyond just giving us money. It's also hiring us. It's also creating space at the table or letting us create our own table. Investing not in only our labor, but our rest and our recovery from the systems that we live in. So I would say to each of you, if you're in an organization, check your why every day, because it's needed for transformation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all your experience and your wisdom and being willing to come up here and share it truly. So we're going to take a few minutes for audience questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand and I will go ahead and call on you and repeat it so everyone can hear. Don't be shy now. Oh, come on. There's got to be one burning question. Yes, in the outdoor Afro shirt.
Yeah, represent. So,
Not a plan, I promise.
so I have a question for Phil. What is your favorite outdoor sport? And was that your first outdoor sport?
So the question was, Phil, what is your favorite outdoor sport? And
Was that your first?
was that your first?
Definitely wasn't my first sport. Maybe my first outdoor sport, yeah, but it wasn't my first sport. My favorite is skiing. Like, nothing else will get me up at 3 o'clock in the morning than to go skiing.
Okay, yeah.
Short and sweet.
That was easy.
Yes, in the nice pattern.
I think we talked a lot about like the challenges that you all are facing. What are some of the parts of what you do that like bring you joy? If there's like a specific example or just generally like those small moments that like keep you going through the challenging parts?
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to repeat that for everyone there.
What are some positives that we do? That's something I'm pretty good.
Basically, yeah.
Right? So my work is, we've been around for 7 years, right? We came out of we came out with a sense of urgency, just based on like 2 of our founders had a really bad experience with other veteran organizations. And so we have worked really, really, really fucking hard over these past 7 years. And so last year in October, we opened up a transitional house exclusively for queer veterans. That's the first program of its kind anywhere in the country. It is not federally funded. So we're doing that. And I think the big thing is the work that we do is hard, but it also reminds me that like I'm just not this fucking needy person that everybody, it seems like from all walks of life, people are saying, hey, 1, you don't exist, right? Like there's no such thing as non-binary. 2, like your problems aren't that bad, like you're getting stuck up in the past. But I have emails and phone calls of people saying, hey, I really need community. And then actually showing up for them, right? And being with them and just be like, I have not had this ever, right? And so it's just like, there's the beauty in that, right? The frustration is I'm doing a job that I'm working so hard, I'm hoping that my job doesn't exist, right? But the reality of the situation is this is a perpetual thing. And like making those connections with the folks, right? Seeing the results, getting people off of the street that have been through numerous housing challenges through their life and actually finding a place that works with them and the identities that they hold, all of the identities that they hold. And just seeing that response, it's a beautiful thing. Like I have to love that work. I am a person of the people, right? And so just seeing like the individual growth of people is something to celebrate every day.
Thank you.
I think on the theme of just like individual growth, it's really exciting to see folks learn a new skill and get it to click. Like that is so satisfying. It's like, oh, I got it. And you're like, you got it. And you have this moment together like that, especially deepening someone's connection to a sport or to the outdoors that you really care about. And for me is watching how fast that occurs in learning environments that really celebrate the whole person. When I think like, gosh, that took me so long to figure out that climbing skill. Or to learn this thing in my skiing, and then you see folks that you are teaching in an environment that feels really inclusive, and they're like, oh, that was easy, and you're like, that was easy, it could have been that simple. That feels like it's very healing and very exciting. And yesterday, I didn't answer, but was asked like my favorite outdoor activity, and I really like to nap outside. Like I really like the feeling of working really hard to get somewhere and being like, I think we have 20 minutes, or like we're at the summit and we could take some time and like take my hat or my buff and put it on my head and just knock out. There's lots of photos of me in the Alpine taking naps. And that feeling of like calm, like wow, I was competent enough to get here and I feel peaceful and like restful enough to just soak in the sounds and vitamin D and relax. Like that keeps me going. And it makes me want to be more efficient with my system so I can take longer naps. And it's been working.
For me, I would say it's the joy that people get, especially when it's their first time. I had just a couple of examples. Just last week before I had my surgery, I had a snowshoeing event, and I had a woman who, she came on one of my first hikes that I did out here. And she's a senior, so she's in her low 70s, I believe, retired, just trying to get back outdoors. She came on my first hike that I came out here and pushed through it. It was about 5 miles. But then doing this snowshoeing, she came out and said, I'm gonna challenge myself. And she just had so much fun. And just seeing the look on her face was just like, wow, this is what this is all about. And last year, I do a camping trip every year, and I had sometimes people bring their kids, their family, whatever. This one family brought their little son with them, and obviously where we are, there's no Wi-Fi or anything, so his phone is not working, and he's just complaining the whole first day, like, oh, this is gonna suck. By the time that trip ended, that camping trip, he was singing at the campfire. He was bringing up the songs. We'd never sang at campfire. He was bringing up songs, and he was just having so much fun. He totally forgot about his phone and everything. And his father came over and thanked me. He said, that boy never gets off his phone. So now he's actually out here enjoying himself and running around. So introducing something like that to somebody that's never done it before and seeing when it clicks and that they really enjoy being outside and doing something, that does it for me every time.
A small business, and I think for me the joy is the ripple that we have in being a small business, and it's not just about the money. It's actually about, we know about at least 5 people that have started new outdoor businesses because of coming to our events or connecting at our partner network, folks that have changed careers. Outdoor Asian in Colorado started because a person came to Refuge Fest and went back to Colorado and started Outdoor Asian in Colorado. So the impact there is probably the thing that brings me the most joy. And we just realized that last year we have now gotten out over 12,000 people via the events that we produce.
Wow.
We might as well end on a high note. Phil, would you like to also?
I mean, honestly, there's too many for me to even, go down that path. But one that I really want to, she just mentioned it, just kind of a ripple effect. And again, when I started in this industry, look, I worked for Knowles. Anybody know Knowles, National Mountain Leadership? I worked for 6 years at Knowles. I was the only Black American person that worked there. Okay, I've never had a student in an organization like that looked like me. I never had a staff person that looked like me until I went to Kenya. So even just sitting in this room, last year, Mary hiked me to Nepal. Yeah, I can go around, my cousin is sitting here right now. I haven't seen my cousin in 30 years. That to me is a highlight for him to be in the room, to hear me talk about these things that I do. We grow together, we like this. So the ripple effect, every day, every month, nowadays I'm being like, wow, this is happening. So staying in the industry long enough to see this change that's going on and to see people who are willing to put themselves out there and make this change, I'm like, I've won the game.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, effort, energy, and attention. And we appreciate the work that you do. Keep at it. Hopefully you'll make some great connections here tonight. And thank you all for coming as well. That's the end of our community connection panel. Let's give them all a warm
And there you have it. I hope this panel was everything that you were hoping it to be and illuminated some topics for you. If you're interested as to why I went this route to have a particular panel like this, feel free to go on Substack or Spotify and look at the Climb Malawi Community Connection Panel episode, as I do talk about this in a little bit more depth. And if this panel has awakened some curiosity in you concerning Black folks in climbing, I highly suggest looking at my podcast on Spotify or reading the article format on my website or Substack or watching the video on Substack on Black hair in climbing, an 8-part series that does talk about Black hair in climbing. I also at this time have another article in the works, Black Hair in Climbing Continued, so keep an eye out for that one as well, and we will expand upon some of the topics that were touched on in the Black Hair in Climbing article. A special thanks to the Washington Climbers Coalition and Seattle Bouldering Project for full-on donating, and also for the following for raffles: Sterling Ropes, Edgeworks Climbing, Vertical World, Community Gearbox, On-Site Physical Therapy, Rock Doc PT, Roosevelt Chiropractic and Massage, Rob, and Specialized Masochism. Thank you all for donating to the raffle. Also, a thank you to the Mountaineers for providing us with a space in which to gather. We do appreciate it. And we'll see you later, good people.